Well, welcome back to Inside the Idaho Vandals. Coach Verlin is staying with us here. And let's talk about, you mentioned Seattle U. You mentioned rebounding. This is an interesting Seattle U team. They've lost 7 out of their last 8. They've lost 3 in a row. Their kind of backs are against the wall, and maybe you kind of fit in that category too as well. What are the keys? You mentioned rebounding. What are some other things?
Well, Cameron's done a good job every year he's been there, and like us, I thought Seattle U would play a part in this league race, and they still may. I think they've got really good talent. Umpeg and Trent and Crook and the guys that they got inside are all good players, and they always play us tough. We've had a number of battles with us. So first and foremost, against Seattle, you got to rebound. Number 2 is you got to take care of your basketball. They've always pressed us. They've always put a lot of pressure on us for 94 feet. And if you turn the ball over and give Seattle U a bunch of easy baskets, it's going to be a long night in Dodge. Number 3 is you got to execute your sets. You've got to get good shots versus them, because an emphasis really comes on shot selection, because it's hard to get offensive rebounds against them. So what we've got to make sure we do is execute our fundamentals, which is blocking them out, getting back in transition, taking care of our ball, and executing our sets.
Your next 3 games are at home. We start off with Seattle U, then you look at New Mexico State, and then Texas Pan American. You've played New Mexico State, you've played Texas Pan American this year, haven't played Seattle U yet. What's the biggest difference between, obviously, when you see New Mexico State, when you see Texas Pan Am, it'll be the second time around. What's the biggest difference when it looks to Seattle that first time?
Well, there's a number of things. Anytime you play somebody twice, you got a good feel, because you can't really tell on tape. Now, we know Seattle U. We've played those guys every year since I've been here. We played them twice last year. We played them twice the year before. They got the same players. We know what Seattle U does, and it's just our job as coaches to educate our guys. The one good thing that you can always use when you play somebody for the second time is a video of your first game. And, you can see how they attack certain guys, certain plays, all the things that go into the game of basketball. So that'll really help us for both Texas Pan American and New Mexico State.
How important is this stretch? I mean, obviously you guys are trying to climb back into the WAC standings. You get the 3 games, you get them all at home, everyone, no travel. How important is it for you?
No more important than any other game on our schedule. We kind of have a philosophy around here is win your next game. So, we're not really looking at the stretch of 3. We're looking at one game, and it's Saturday. And we're going to do everything we can to win that game. And whether we win it or not, then we're going to go to the next one and do everything we can. Because as we all know, WAC Conference, there's only one team going to the NCAA tournament, and it's the team that wins 3 games in March. And what we've got to do is get better at this stage of the year so we can play for a WAC championship in March. And that's what I continue to do, is we got to just keep getting better every day so I have a chance to play when the conference tournament rolls around.
When you have struggling times and when you have, tough games like you did last week, is that something you continue to try to tell the players that, it really matters how we do in March rather than how we do all in the months leading up?
Not really, because the most important thing is right now. And what we got to try to do is do everything we can for this game, and those things will take care of themselves. So I hope I answered your question right there, but the key thing is to practice right every single day and to play in those games the very best you can. And we got better last week, believe it or not. I mean, we played 25 good minutes, but we still made some of the mistakes that we've been making. We got to quit making those mistakes. But the only way to do that is to practice right, and that's what I've been stressing on the guys this week, is we got to make sure we practice right.
Well, it should be a good stretch. We're excited for the next 3 games at home here in the Cowan Spectrum, and best of luck here, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks to Coach Verlin for joining us. When we come back, it's the women's side of things. Undefeated start in WAC Conference play. Tom Purvis sat down with John Newley. That comes your way next when Inside the Idaho Vandals returns.